What is up, and welcome back to BR Walkoff Live. I am your host, Steve Peralta, and today we are once again joined by the one and only Jeff Francoeur. Frenchie, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, Steve. How are you, man? Enjoying beautiful New York, and we got the U.S. Open kicking off right
Right?
behind us.
That's one of the best times of the baseball year, specifically in New York. You got both those events going on at the same time. I'm a
Yep.
big Alcaraz guy, so hopefully he can take that one.
Oh,
But talking baseball here, jumping right into it. Another New York team. What's the biggest current problem, in your opinion, with the New York Yankees? It just doesn't really feel like a team that's a threat in the American League right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm a homer. I'm a Red Sox guy. What do you see with the Yankees right
yeah.
now, and what's kind of ahead of them this next month heading towards the playoffs?
Well, Steve, I think one of the big concerns when you look at this team is their ability to beat quality baseball teams, teams over 500, playoff teams right now. You're not seeing that a whole lot. And I think you can start to say, man, do they have what it takes to go to Boston in a best of three, to go to Houston, to go to wherever it is? It just has not gelled all year. And, even earlier in the year when they were over 500, a lot of it was because Max Fried was like 9-0 with like a 1 to start
Yeah.
his career there. So this team really has not got going as a whole. They've had stretches, they've had little moments, but it just hasn't felt like the Yankees we saw last year. And it's tough to put your hand on one thing. I know they lost Garrett Cole, but with that being said, Rodon's pitched better. You got Fried. So I think you're kind of trying to figure it out, but it has not been consistent up there. Look, at the end of the day, they're still in the playoffs right now, and so they have a chance. But I think people are definitely concerned.
How tough is that when they seemingly rely on the long ball way too much? And especially at Yankee
Yeah.
Stadium when you get the short porch and right field, let's be honest, it doesn't look like, I mean, who knows? They could be playing home playoff games, but if the season ended right now, they'd be on the road, I believe, playing at
Yeah.
Fenway Park. And those balls would not be out. Those would be catches by the bullpen there. So, like, how do you view a team like that where you seem so reliant on one thing instead of kind of spreading it across the board?
It reminds me of Duke basketball, right? Remember, they used to rely on the three all the time.
Hmm.
So I was like, to win the tournament, you were going to have to go 6 straight games with shooting the lights out of the ball. And that's tough to do. And kind of same thing for them. So I do think they're going to have to change things up a little bit, get a little more speed in there, a little more athleticism. And I think they have the ability to do it. But right now, you're just not seeing it.
It's a good point. Moving over to the Red Sox, their rival in the AL East, Walker Buehler to the bullpen. It's been a tough year for Buehler, coming off of getting that last out there in the World Series. A guy that's obviously been really towards the pinnacle of pitching at the peak of his career. Now gets the news he has to go to the bullpen. I guess a multi-layered question here. What do you think that's going to look like for a guy like Buehler in the bullpen, and how hard is that to get that kind of news? Do you think, being a veteran that's been there, done that? And now you're just not even in the rotation anymore, heading towards the most important games of the year.
That's tough, man. When you've had the career and the accolades that he's had, to be able to get that kind of news is not easy. He had games this year where he was really good, and then he had games where he wasn't. And I think ultimately the inconsistencies of his starts was what got him. Now, I always say this, right? Give it a couple days, but at the same time, if he accepts this, goes to the bullpen, runs with it, to me, you gain the respect of your teammates, you gain the respect
Hmm.
of your city, and really baseball to say, you know what? If this happens to a guy, look, he responds, he's positive, he's still there cheering guys on. And so for Walker, I think for him, if he can go down there and embrace this role, nothing's ever set in stone. You know that, Steve. I mean, in 3 weeks, there could be an injury and he's back in that rotation. So I
Hmm.
think for him, it's all going to come down to perspective and attitude. And I think Walker's got both those.
I'll give him credit because, and this used to happen with Chris Sale in the Red Sox when he was missing games. He's so critical of himself. And almost as a
Yeah.
fan, like, you don't want to say anything negative because he's like, I suck. Like, I shouldn't be pitching in the majors. It's like, dude, all right, like, maybe pump the brakes a little bit. Like, you just won the
Yeah.
World Series last year. So I don't know. I don't want him to be putting that added pressure on him, but I do think he'll be fine in this role. It's just, that's a big change at this point of the season, right? Like, you're towards the end of the year. It's kind of hard to just switch. Now I'm a bullpen guy.
It is, but at the same time, maybe you see something different. I go back to Wade Davis, who was a teammate of mine in Kansas City. He was
Mm.
starter all those years in Tampa, and he came to Kansas City and they put him in the pen, and next thing you know, he's just throwing gas and doing it. So it could change something, or like you said, it could change in the fact that he's back in the bullpen or in the rotation a couple weeks if there's an injury.
Yeah, no, anything's on the table there. Going to a guy I know you love, I love, a lot of baseball
Yeah.
fans love, the Big Dumper. It's just a great name to say. We've said it so much, and I still haven't gotten sick of it, which is that's when you know it's a good nickname. When you
Right?
can still say it and you're not like tired of saying it.
It makes me
50
smile
homers
every
as a
time
cat.
someone says it.
I chuckle every time. I'm just like, we're talking about this guy's butt. That's crazy. 50 homers as a catcher is wild. Like that's never happened before. Obviously, he passes Salvi Perez. Other guys that are on the list, by the way, of most homers in their position in a single season got Barry Bonds, Aaron Judge, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, A-Rod, Shohei Ohtani, David Ortiz. Hell of a list. What do you make of this season? And what do you think is the sky the limit here? Is he going to win the AL MVP?
I'll tell you what, man. Watching what he's doing has been unbelievable. And as a catcher, right? And everybody, if you remember at the All-Star break, Steve, he'll start slowing down, between catching his legs, and all of a sudden here he is again, that little barrage, and he's just running away. And these aren't cheap home runs either, man. I mean, you talk about hitting in Seattle, that's not, like hitting in Cincinnati or some of these parks where the ball just flies. So it's been impressive to watch what he's done. And you know what? I mean, he's single-handedly, I look, I know they got a great pitching staff and all this stuff, but he's a big reason why they're in the wild card right now if the season ended.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Mariners a little bit further down here, but that caption sums it up. This is special. I mean, what he's doing is special. I think sometimes we can overrate what happens in the game or like an accomplishment. 50 homers as a catcher, we honestly may never see that again in our lives. So just try to appreciate what's actually going on right now. Yeah, yep. It's absurd. The NL wildcard race, a couple more for you. So how do you think this is going to shake up? I know the Mets, you got that game tonight. Interesting season for the Mets, really up and down. A typical Mets season, I guess. Just some drama, them booing certain players. Everybody sucks. Everybody's great. Pete Alonso setting the franchise home run record. They're 6 games back of the Phillies in the NL East, and they're currently holding on to that last wild card spot. The Reds are hanging around 2.5 games out. Realistically, though, kind of feels like in both leagues, the teams that are going to make the playoffs are currently in playoff position. Do you think there's going to be any shakeup in the NL there, specifically for the wild card?
I would say the NL's got a better chance than the AL. But with that being said, I think the Reds have maybe the first or second toughest schedule the rest of the way out. That's another thing that's tough. But they do have the right manager and Terry Francona there to kind of help bring them along. But I think it's starting to take a clear picture in both leagues. And the National team that, take them where they're at. So, I think that's kind of where you're going to see it.
I think, did I lose you for that? You can hear me though, right?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, perfect. I lost you for 2 seconds, but I think what you just said was the greatest point anyone's ever said in the history of BR Walkoff Live.
Perfect.
I'm just gonna agree with whatever you said. All right, so we're gonna wrap with this. It's my favorite part of the show. It's the tier game. We are tiering teams to fear in October. The 3 tiers we have are terrified to face them, don't sleep on them, or non-factor. Those are the 3 tiers we have here. We're going to start with the team that's just having one of the more interesting seasons that I can remember, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I believe this summer, basically since the start of June, they're playing like 500 ball. Obviously, they've lost a lot of guys, a lot of injuries. Shohei Ohtani still looks like Shohei Ohtani. Where do you put the Dodgers on the teams to fear in October tier list here?
I'll tell you what. You could easily say put them on don't sleep, right? Because of kind of what they're doing. But I'm still going to go with terrified because they're the defending world champs. And I got to believe there's more in that locker room and in that team than what we've seen. And I could be wrong, but I know a lot of those players. I know Dave Roberts. There's going to be more in that tank come October, I feel.
They kind of feel like the Chiefs from a couple years ago, where like they were going through some tough times, but it's like they're still the Chiefs, and then they won the Super Bowl. So it's like that
Exactly.
might actually end up being what happens here. The San Diego Padres, next one on the list. This is a team I just love watching, honestly, going from Sox games and then having Don Orsillo calling Padres games, a beautiful thing as a baseball fan. Where do you have them on this list? Because they obviously want to get their revenge on the Dodgers for what happened last year.
I got them don't sleep because of where they're at
Okay.
right now. They're right with the Dodgers when you think about it. I still think LA is going to win that division just to at the very end, but I didn't think San Diego would be neck and neck with them right now as we speak here today. So don't sleep for me.
Especially they did nothing in the offseason. Obviously, a really active trade deadline. That bullpen is filthy. The Phillies.
Yeah.
This is interesting. No Wheeler. It just blows. That sucks. Like that news really just sucks seeing as a baseball fan. Still obviously have the pieces to make a run in the National League. Where would you put them here?
If Wheeler was there today, I'd put terrified. Without Wheeler there, I'm going don't sleep. I still think they have plenty of arms to win it, but I think Zach Wheeler is the best pitcher in all of baseball. Big game pitcher. If I had one game, I would want Zach Wheeler on the mound. Without that, I got to put him down just a little bit.
I'm glad you said that because no one says that. I feel like oh yeah, he's a really good pitcher. No, this guy's a dog in the playoffs, but he's just like a normal guy.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why he's not like yelling coming off the mound. So like we don't talk about him like we do some of the other guys.
Exactly. But I know that is not enough fun at bat.
No, not at all. And he's consistently been doing it. The New York Yankees next in the game here. Playoff spot not guaranteed for him. We're talking about the NL wildcard, but the AL, who knows? The Royals could catch him. Aaron Judge doesn't seem quite right. He doesn't seem like his normal self, and Giancarlo Stanton's carrying their lineup, and he can't run. So where do you put the Yankees here?
Man, I'll tell you what, it's about the first time in a long time that I could say I could put them at non-factor because I just really don't love where they're going. But
I'd say do it. I'd say just do it.
Well, I know you want me to, but I'm going to put them at don't sleep because they have Aaron Judge. And if you have Aaron Judge, you always got a shot.
Yeah, October Aaron Judge, though. That's a different Aaron Judge. I don't know.
You're right, but my boy Max Fried is also there, and he's been pretty good at times.
Yeah. No, that's a damn good point. Yeah, we'll see. And especially American League, not as dominant as the NL. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with the New York Yankees. A team that's very close to the Yankees in the standings, at least the wild card standings, is the Seattle Mariners. Where would you have the Mariners on this list?
You know, honestly, for me, I'm going to actually, this is the one that's probably going to surprise a lot of people. I'm going terrified because this team has waited a long time. I was there for the playoff game, 3 years ago. They didn't score for 18 innings. Those fans had been waiting. But they have the starting pitching, man, that can absolutely shut a team down. And with what Cal Raleigh and these other guys are doing, they are a team that could sneak up on a lot of people. And, you know, you're used to going to Boston, New York for the playoffs, Houston. Going to Seattle's not easy.
100%. And I feel like there's a lot of focus on the deadline, acquisitions with the positional players. It's like, don't forget about the rotation. 3 teams left here. Houston Astros. Is this like a always fear the Astros situation, regardless of what's going on? Or, they get Yordan Alvarez back today, which is massive. Where do you put them here?
Yeah, I'm not terrified, but at the same time, they're not a non-factor. This is a don't sleep team. They have done a great job this year. I think Dana Brown deserves a lot of credit for getting this team back here and then being bold and going to get Correa at the deadline, making some moves. So I really like what he's done, and it wouldn't shock me to see them in the ALCS again. I mean, this team just knows how to win in October.
Kind of feels like that's where they're going to end up. The Milwaukee Brewers have never been to the World Series. Could this be the first year they do it? Where do you have them here?
I'm throwing the Brewers up there terrified because I just feel like sometimes you get mojo and it doesn't matter, man. This team is playing for each other. They have a great bullpen. You don't have a good bullpen, it's tough to put you terrified because postseason things can switch, but they have a bullpen that can shut people down after Peralta and Woodruff and Mizrowski. So I got them right where they deserve right now.
Terrified does feel like it fits how their season is gone. This is the best
Yeah.
season, arguably, in Brewers history. So, like, they should be
Yeah.
terrified. The other NL teams. Last team, we will wrap with this team. You are calling this team's game tonight in their park, Citi Field, beautiful park. The New York Mets. Where do you get the Mets on the tier list for teams to fear in October?
I got to go don't sleep, because anytime you have Pete Alonso, Lindor, and Soto in a lineup, you're not a non-factor. Those three guys can change a game. I think for the Mets, where it's all going to come down is what carried them early in the year, starting pitching. Their starting pitching has got to get better for them to have success in October. If it does, they have the arms that they can do it. If it doesn't, it's going to be tough.
Either way, it's going to be fun in Citi Field. They're going to be letting them know if they suck or if they're playing well. So at least they keep it honest there.
Happen.
They keep it honest in Queens. You guys can catch Frenchie on TBS tonight, 7 p.m., calling the Phillies-Mets game. Frenchie, you're the man. Really appreciate you doing this. This is always a ton of fun, and looking forward to the next one, all right?
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you, man.
Take care.